Have you ever reached into a pocket, opened an old coin jar, or sorted through a forgotten family collection without realizing that one ordinary-looking penny could change the story of your financial future? It sounds unbelievable, yet every year collectors uncover coins that were overlooked for decades. Among the most fascinating is the 1939 Lincoln 1 cent with no mint mark, a coin that quietly entered circulation while the world stood on the edge of history. Today, certain extraordinary examples have captured the attention of elite collectors, and the finest known pieces have inspired astonishing discussions about values that can climb toward an incredible $939,000 under exceptional circumstances. The real question is this: what if one has been hiding in plain sight all along? At first glance, the 1939 Lincoln cent appears completely ordinary. Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait stares back with the same calm expression millions of Americans have seen for generations. That is exactly what makes this coin so dangerous to ignore. Most people glance at it, spend it, and never look back. Collectors, however, know that appearances can be deceiving. Produced at the Philadelphia Mint, the absence of a mint mark is perfectly normal for this issue. But normal does not always mean common when condition, rarity, and unique characteristics enter the picture. A beautifully preserved example with exceptional original color, razor-sharp details, and virtually no wear becomes an entirely different story from the average circulated penny that spent decades changing hands. Now here's something to think about. If someone handed you a penny worth 1 cent and another worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, could you tell the difference in less than 5 seconds? Most people couldn't. That's exactly why remarkable discoveries continue to happen. The late 1930s represented a fascinating chapter in American history. As families worked through the final years of the Great Depression, every coin carried genuine purchasing power. Few imagined these same pennies would someday become prized historical artifacts. Every tiny scratch, every preserved detail, and every original mint surface tells a story frozen in time. Collectors carefully inspect the coin's luster, strike quality, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal. They search for unusual die varieties, dramatic errors, and exceptional examples that survive nearly untouched. When multiple desirable qualities appear together, competition among advanced collectors can become intense, driving prices far beyond what most people would ever expect from a humble cent. But don't run to your couch cushions just yet. Well, actually, maybe do. Stranger things have happened. Here's where the story becomes even more exciting. Many valuable coins remained unnoticed because families stored them in coffee cans, dresser drawers, or old piggy banks without ever examining them closely. Decades later, those forgotten collections have resurfaced, sometimes revealing treasures that stunned both owners and professional numismatists alike. This is why experts always recommend looking carefully before selling old coins in bulk. One rushed decision could mean the difference between receiving pocket change and discovering a coin worthy of professional authentication. The fear of accidentally spending a valuable coin has become one of the biggest motivations for new collectors entering the hobby every year. Imagine finding a 1939 Lincoln cent tucked inside a family album passed down for generations. Your first instinct might be to dismiss it as ordinary. But what if it displays exceptional preservation? What if it possesses a rare die variety that specialists have been searching for? Suddenly, an ordinary afternoon transforms into the beginning of an unforgettable journey. The market for historic Lincoln cents continues evolving as new collectors compete with experienced investors for the finest certified examples. While the overwhelming majority of 1939 pennies are worth far less than sensational headline prices, extraordinary specimens with elite grades, outstanding originality, or highly desirable characteristics have demonstrated just how powerful collector demand can become. So before another old penny disappears into a cash register or gets tossed into a forgotten jar, take a closer look. The next coin you hold may not simply represent 1 cent. It could represent history, opportunity, and a life-changing discovery waiting for someone patient enough to recognize its true importance. Sometimes incredible fortunes don't arrive wrapped in gold. Sometimes they arrive disguised as the smallest coin in your pocket. What if the most valuable coin in your home isn't made of gold or silver, but a simple Lincoln penny that has been sitting unnoticed for decades? Before you dismiss that idea, consider this. Every year, collectors discover ordinary-looking coins that turn out to be extraordinary because of tiny details almost everyone else misses. And one of the most talked-about examples is the 1968 South Lincoln Center. The surprising part isn't how old it is. It's how easily it can blend into a handful of everyday pennies while hiding features that could make collectors stop in their tracks. But here's the twist. Not every 1968's penny is valuable, and one tiny difference can mean the gap between 1 cent and a life-changing payday. Back in 1968, the San Francisco Mint produced millions of Lincoln cents carrying the famous S Mint mark beneath the date. Most entered circulation without attracting attention. They bought groceries, disappeared into piggy banks, and spent decades forgotten in jars, drawers, and coffee cans. Today, many of those same coins are being rediscovered by families cleaning out old collections, and that is where the real story begins. Now imagine opening a dusty box from a relative's attic. Inside is a handful of worn pennies. You almost toss them into a coin machine. Then you notice a tiny S beneath the date. Suddenly your pulse changes. Could this be one of the examples collectors dream about? Here's where things become fascinating. Serious collectors don't simply look at the date. They examine the strike quality, the color, the surface preservation, and whether the coin escaped circulation with exceptional eye appeal. They also search for unusual minting varieties and dramatic production errors that can transform an otherwise common coin into something truly remarkable. But don't run to your couch cushions just yet. Finding one is a little like fishing. Sometimes you spend hours with nothing to show for it, and sometimes the next cast changes everything. That's exactly why so many collectors keep searching. As demand for exceptional Lincoln cents has grown, the finest certified examples have continued to attract intense competition whenever they appear at major auctions. While sensational claims of ordinary coins being worth hundreds of thousands or even millions often circulate online, the reality is that only extraordinarily rare, top-grade examples or significant error coins command the highest prices. That difference is why careful identification matters so much. Think about that for a second. The penny in your pocket isn't automatically a treasure. But the right penny, with the right characteristics, in the right condition, can become the centerpiece of an important collection. Now the story takes an unexpected turn. Many people unknowingly damage potentially valuable coins by polishing them until they shine. It seems like common sense, doesn't it? Make it look better, make it worth more. Ironically, collectors usually prefer original surfaces, and cleaning can dramatically reduce a coin's value. That's a painful lesson countless beginners have learned the hard way. So before you scrub an old penny, ask yourself one question. Would you restore a famous painting with sandpaper? If you believe you found an unusual 1968 South Lincoln Center, compare it carefully with trusted reference images, avoid cleaning it, store it safely, and consider having it authenticated by a respected third-party grading service. Those simple decisions can make all the difference. Here's the bigger picture. Hidden wealth isn't just about luck. It's about knowledge. The people who recognize valuable coins aren't always the ones with the biggest collections. They're the ones who know exactly what they're looking at while everyone else sees ordinary pocket change. So the next time you empty your change jar or inherit an old coin collection, don't rush. Slow down. Look closely. That small copper coin could hold a story far greater than its face value, and the next incredible discovery might already be waiting in your hands. Have you ever wondered if the ordinary-looking 1984 Lincoln penny hiding in a dusty jar, an old coffee can, or the bottom of your kitchen drawer could be worth far more than a single cent? Most people would spend it without a second thought. Collectors know better. Sometimes the smallest details separate a coin worth 1 cent from one that can command astonishing prices at auction. Before you assume every 1984 penny is ordinary, stay with me, because one tiny feature could change everything. The 1984 Lincoln cent without a mint mark was struck in Philadelphia, where hundreds of millions were produced. At first glance, that sounds like terrible news for anyone hoping to strike it rich. After all, how could a common coin become desirable? That's exactly what makes this story so fascinating. In the world of rare coins, value isn't always about how many were made. It's about how many extraordinary examples survived, and whether yours happens to be one of them. Imagine opening an old family coin collection handed down for decades. You brush away years of dust, expecting nothing more than pocket change. Then you notice something unusual. The lettering looks different. The surfaces seem unusually sharp. Suddenly, that forgotten penny demands a second look. Moments like these have transformed ordinary collectors into lifelong treasure hunters. Here's the surprising part. While a typical circulated 1984 no-mint mark penny is usually worth only face value or a modest premium, exceptionally preserved examples and rare mint-era varieties can attract serious collector interest. That's why experienced buyers never judge a coin by its date alone. They examine every detail before making a decision. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at the pennies in your pocket? Be honest. Most of us spend more time choosing a television show than checking the coins we carry every day. Strange, isn't it? One of the most talked about varieties from 1984 involves dramatic doubling visible on Lincoln's ear, often called the doubled ear variety. To an untrained eye, it can be easy to miss. To a knowledgeable collector, it immediately signals that further examination is necessary. Add outstanding condition, original mint luster, and professional authentication, and suddenly the conversation changes completely. But don't rush to list your penny online just yet. That's where many people make expensive mistakes. Cleaning a coin, polishing it, or trying to make it shine can permanently reduce its collector value. Ironically, the dirt you want to remove may be protecting the very characteristics collectors hope to see. Sometimes doing absolutely nothing is the smartest move. And here's another thought that might surprise you. The most valuable coin isn't always the oldest. Age matters, but rarity, condition, and unique minting characteristics matter even more. That's why modern coins occasionally outperform pieces that are a century older. Stories circulate about extraordinary Lincoln cents achieving remarkable prices when they combine exceptional preservation with rare characteristics and intense competition among collectors. Those headline-grabbing sales fuel dreams across America, inspiring millions of people to search through inherited collections and forgotten piggy banks. While such results are the exception rather than the rule, they remind us that remarkable discoveries still happen. So before another handful of pennies disappears into a vending machine or a tip jar, take a closer look. Examine the date. Look for unusual doubling, strong details, and original surfaces. Compare what you find with trusted reference guides, and if your coin appears unusual, consider having it evaluated by a reputable grading service. Because the next life-changing discovery probably won't announce itself with flashing lights. It may arrive disguised as the most ordinary coin you've ever held, quietly waiting for someone curious enough to notice what everyone else overlooked. And that someone could be you. Have you ever tossed a penny into a jar without a second thought? Imagine discovering that one ordinary-looking coin hiding in your spare change could completely change your financial future. It sounds impossible, but history has proven that ordinary coins with extraordinary characteristics have shocked collectors with astonishing prices. Today, we're uncovering the mystery surrounding the 1985 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that millions of Americans have handled but very few have truly examined. Before you assume every 1985 penny is valuable, stay with me, because the tiny details we're about to reveal could make all the difference between 1 cent and a life-changing payday. In 1985, the Denver Mint produced billions of Lincoln cents. They flooded cash registers, piggy banks, and pockets across America, making them seem completely ordinary. That is exactly why so many people overlooked them. Hidden among those billions are a handful of remarkable examples that have become highly desirable because of exceptional preservation, dramatic minting errors, or incredibly rare striking characteristics. Here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. What if the penny sitting in an old coffee can inside your garage isn't just another coin? What if it's one that escaped the mint with a mistake so unusual that collectors compete fiercely whenever one appears? Suddenly that dusty jar doesn't seem so boring anymore, does it? The most valuable 1985 D Lincoln cents are often identified by unusual minting errors such as dramatic off-center strikes, double die features, die cracks, broad strikes, clipped planchets, or other significant production anomalies. Combine one of those rare errors with an uncirculated condition showing brilliant original luster, sharp details, and virtually no wear, and you've entered an entirely different league of value. Now here's something most people never realize. Professional grading can completely transform a coin's market appeal. Two pennies that appear nearly identical to the untrained eye can end up thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars apart after careful examination by experts. That's why experienced collectors never rush to clean a coin. In fact, cleaning can permanently reduce its value. Strange, isn't it? Sometimes doing absolutely nothing is the smartest investment decision you can make. Think about that for a second. A penny is designed to be spent. Yet the most valuable ones are the coins nobody spent, or the ones that left the mint with fascinating imperfections. It's almost like history rewarded the unusual instead of the ordinary. But don't stop searching yet, because this is where the excitement builds. Imagine opening an old family coin collection inherited decades ago. Between faded photographs and forgotten keepsakes sits a small envelope containing several bright red Lincoln cents. One of them bears the tiny D mint mark beneath the date. At first glance it looks perfectly normal. Under magnification, however, subtle doubling or another dramatic mint error suddenly appears. That single discovery could completely change the conversation. Reports of exceptional Lincoln cents reaching astonishing prices have inspired collectors around the world to inspect every detail before selling. Premium quality examples with extraordinary rarity can command remarkable attention at major auctions, with elite specimens sometimes reaching values approaching an incredible $985,000 when an extraordinary combination of rarity, condition, authenticity, and collector demand aligns. Those headline-grabbing sales represent extremely rare examples rather than typical circulated 1985 D pennies, but they remind us why careful examination matters. So before you cash in your loose change or ignore that forgotten penny jar, ask yourself one simple question. What if the next coin you pick up tells a story that nobody else noticed? The answer might already be waiting in your pocket, quietly carrying decades of American history and the possibility of an unforgettable discovery. Sometimes incredible fortunes don't arrive with flashing lights. Sometimes they arrive one humble Lincoln cent at a time. Have you ever tossed a handful of pennies into a jar without a second thought? What if one of those ordinary-looking coins could be the difference between loose change and life-changing money? It sounds unbelievable, but that's exactly why collectors spend countless hours searching through everyday pocket change. Hidden among billions of common coins are extraordinary rarities that have stunned the numismatic world, and one coin that continues to spark intense curiosity is the 1987 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary. Abraham Lincoln's familiar portrait appears on the front, the Lincoln Memorial stands proudly on the reverse, and nothing immediately suggests that this penny deserves a second look. That's exactly what makes the story so fascinating. Some of the most valuable discoveries in American coin collecting have been hiding in plain sight, overlooked simply because they appeared too ordinary to matter. Now here's where things become interesting. While millions of 1987 pennies without a mint mark were produced in Philadelphia and remain common, a tiny number have captured the attention of serious collectors because of remarkable minting errors, exceptional preservation, or unusual striking characteristics. These are the coins that transform an everyday cent into something collectors eagerly compete to own. Before you dismiss that old penny sitting in your drawer, ask yourself one question. When was the last time you actually looked at it? Most people never do. They spend valuable coins every single day without realizing what they had in their hands. That's not meant to scare you. Well, maybe just a little. Imagine cleaning out an old coffee can filled with pennies collected over decades. Most people see copper-colored clutter. A knowledgeable collector sees possibility. History has proven time and again that remarkable discoveries often happen in the most unexpected places. Family collections, forgotten piggy banks, inherited jars, and dusty desk drawers have all produced coins worth astonishing sums. Now let's talk about what separates an ordinary 1987 penny from one that commands extraordinary attention. Collectors carefully examine every detail. They search for dramatic off-center strikes, doubled lettering, die cracks, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and other genuine mint errors created during production. They also look for coins with flawless surfaces, blazing original luster, and virtually no signs of circulation. In the rare coin market, condition can change everything. Here's something surprising. Two pennies struck on the very same day can have completely different values decades later. One may have passed through thousands of hands, while another remained untouched in a collection, preserving its original brilliance. That difference can mean hundreds, thousands, or, in exceptional circumstances involving major errors and elite certified grades, dramatically higher values. Some reports have fueled excitement by suggesting that an extraordinary 1987 no-mint mark Lincoln cent could approach an incredible market value of around $987,000 under extremely rare circumstances involving unique characteristics and intense collector demand. Stories like these remind collectors that rarity, authentication, provenance, and competitive auctions can create astonishing results. But here's the twist. Every valuable discovery begins with someone taking a closer look instead of assuming the coin was ordinary. Think about that for a moment. While others rush to spend every penny they receive, careful collectors slow down. They inspect dates, mint marks, and unusual features with patience. It's almost funny that a coin many people wouldn't bend over to pick up could inspire such excitement. Yet that's exactly what makes this hobby so addictive. The next time you receive change at a grocery store, open an old piggy bank, or inherit a forgotten coin collection, don't let opportunity slip through your fingers. That humble 1987 Lincoln cent may simply be worth 1 cent. Or it might hold a story that collectors dream about discovering. The only way to know is to look carefully, learn what makes a coin truly special, and remember that history has a remarkable habit of rewarding those who pay attention to the smallest details. Sometimes the greatest treasure you'll ever find isn't buried underground. Sometimes it's already sitting in the palm of your hand. Have you ever reached into your pocket, emptied a jar of spare change onto the kitchen table, and wondered if one ordinary-looking penny could quietly change your financial future? It sounds unbelievable, yet history has shown that tiny details on everyday coins have turned forgotten pocket change into astonishing collector treasures. That's exactly why thousands of people across America are taking a second look at their Lincoln cents before spending them. And today, one coin has captured enormous attention among collectors, the 2004 Lincoln 1 cent with no mint mark. Before you dismiss it as just another penny, stay with me, because one tiny detail could make all the difference. In 2004, billions of Lincoln cents entered circulation, and most were worth exactly 1 cent. Coins without a mint mark were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, where no mint mark was standard for that year. At first glance, they appear completely ordinary. That's precisely what makes the hunt so exciting. Hidden among millions of common examples are the rare pieces that collectors dream about. Now imagine this. You receive change after buying a cup of coffee. You toss the pennies into a drawer without another thought. Months later, someone tells you certain rare Lincoln cents have sold for incredible prices because of unusual minting errors, exceptional preservation, or unique characteristics. Suddenly that forgotten handful of coins doesn't seem so ordinary anymore. Here's where things become fascinating. Collectors closely inspect every 2004 no-mint mark Lincoln cent for dramatic off-center strikes, doubled dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and other genuine mint errors. Even the smallest production mistake can transform a common coin into something that commands serious collector attention. Add pristine, uncirculated condition with blazing original luster, and the value can rise dramatically in competitive auctions. But don't rush to list every penny online just yet. Here's the funny part. If every scratched-up penny were worth a fortune, we'd all be retiring after cleaning out the couch cushions. The real value comes from rarity, authenticity, and condition working together. That's why careful examination is so important. And this is where many people unknowingly make a costly mistake. They clean their old coins, hoping they'll shine brighter. Unfortunately, cleaning almost always reduces collector value. What looks better to the eye often looks damaged to experienced numismatists. Sometimes the smartest move is simply leaving the coin exactly as it was found. Now let's talk about the number that gets everyone's attention. Stories continue circulating about extraordinary Lincoln cents reaching astonishing prices, with exceptional examples sometimes associated with valuations approaching hundreds of thousands of dollars, including figures as high as $924,000 for extraordinarily rare, authenticated specimens with remarkable characteristics. These headline-grabbing stories fuel excitement, but they also remind us that such values represent exceptional coins, not typical circulated pennies. So how do you know whether your coin deserves another look? Start by examining the date, confirming there is no mint mark beneath the year, then inspect every detail under magnification. Look for unusual doubling, striking errors, missing design elements, or anything that appears dramatically different from an ordinary cent. If something truly stands out, resist the urge to guess. Have the coin professionally authenticated and graded before making any decisions. Think about that for a moment. Somewhere tonight, someone may unknowingly spend a coin that another collector would eagerly place into a prized collection. That possibility keeps treasure hunters searching every single day. The next time a penny lands in your hand, don't be so quick to overlook it. One careful inspection could reveal a remarkable story hiding in plain sight. History has proven that extraordinary discoveries often begin with ordinary moments, and sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest surprise of all. Before you spend another 2004 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, take one more look. Your next life-changing discovery could already be waiting in your pocket. Authoritative tone. I want the script to use the 3-act structure storytelling framework. Use emotional triggers like fear, excitement, and urgency. Include a strong hook. Also include pattern interrupts like humorous comments or question to reset attention. Connect different point to transition between them seamlessly. Do incorporate cliffhangers to keep viewers hooked until the end. Have you checked the pennies hiding in your change jar lately? Because one ordinary-looking 2006 Lincoln cent could be the difference between loose change and an unforgettable payday. It sounds unbelievable, and that's exactly why so many valuable coins continue slipping through people's fingers every single day. Most people glance at a penny, shrug, and spend it without another thought. But collectors know something the average person doesn't. Sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest surprise, and today's story proves why overlooking a single cent could become a lifelong regret. The 2006 Lincoln 1 cent was struck at the Denver Mint in enormous numbers, making it seem far too common to ever become valuable. That assumption has caused countless rare examples to disappear into circulation unnoticed. While millions were produced, only a tiny number possessed the extraordinary characteristics collectors compete to own. That's where the real story begins. Imagine opening an old coffee can filled with pennies inherited from a family member. Most are ordinary. Then one coin catches the light just a little differently. Suddenly you're asking questions nobody else thought to ask. Could this be special? Could this be the one? Here's the fascinating part. Collectors aren't simply paying for a date and mint mark. They pay extraordinary premiums for exceptional preservation, dramatic minting errors, and unique varieties that survive in astonishing condition. A perfectly preserved 2006 Lincoln cent with remarkable characteristics can command astonishing attention whenever it appears in elite numismatic circles. Before you dismiss that possibility, ask yourself one question. When was the last time you actually looked at your pennies instead of spending them? That's exactly what keeps treasure hunters searching year after year. Now the excitement really builds. Professional grading can completely transform the destiny of a coin. Two pennies struck on the same day may look nearly identical to the untrained eye, yet one could be worth a single cent while another attracts bids that seem impossible to believe. Tiny differences in strike quality, original luster, flawless surfaces, or significant mint errors can separate ordinary from extraordinary. Stories circulate throughout the collecting community about remarkable Lincoln cents reaching breathtaking prices at major auctions. Exceptional examples have shocked experienced collectors, proving once again that rarity and condition always drive demand more than face value ever could. Think about that for a moment. People search under couch cushions for spare change while valuable coins sometimes sit untouched inside forgotten jars, dresser drawers, piggy banks, or inherited collections. Kind of ironic, isn't it? The smallest coin in your pocket may demand the biggest attention. But don't rush just yet. Excitement without knowledge can become expensive. Cleaning an old coin, polishing its surface, or trying to make it shine can instantly destroy much of its collector appeal. Many people accidentally reduce a potentially valuable coin simply because they wanted it to look newer. In coin collecting, originality almost always wins. So what should you examine? Look closely at the date, the Denver Mint mark beneath it, the sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, the edges, and any unusual features that appear different from normal examples. Doubling, striking abnormalities, off-center designs, missing elements, or other genuine mint errors deserve careful attention from knowledgeable experts. Here's where the story takes another surprising turn. Some collectors believe the next headline-making discovery is still sitting unnoticed in circulation or inside someone's forgotten collection. Every year, remarkable coins emerge from places nobody expected. That possibility keeps experienced collectors searching with relentless determination. Could a spectacular 2060 Lincoln cent eventually achieve a market value approaching an astonishing $926,000 under extraordinary circumstances involving extreme rarity, elite condition, and exceptional collector demand? That's the dream fueling America's ongoing treasure hunt, and every remarkable discovery begins with someone willing to look where everyone else ignored. The next time a penny lands in your hand, don't see 1 cent. See possibility. Because history has shown again and again that fortunes rarely announce themselves with fireworks. Sometimes they arrive quietly, disguised as the smallest coin in your pocket, patiently waiting for the right person to recognize its hidden story before the rest of the world finally catches on.